Enhancing your SQL queries, accurately calculate time differences between tasks. When working with SQL Server, a common requirement is to calculate the time difference between two related events or tasks. This can be particularly useful in scenarios such as tracking task durations, computing downtime, or analyzing intervals between events. However, getting precise results requires a firm understanding of SQL Server's datetime and time functions. Understanding time difference calculation in SQL Server. Calculating the time difference between two events generally involves subtracting one timestamp from another. The typical SQL Server data types involved in such calculations are datetime, datetime2, and time. Among these, datetime is most widely used because it provides both date and time, with an accuracy of up to 1/300th of a second. Here is a fundamental approach to compute the time difference between two timestamps in SQL Server. In this example, the datediff function is utilized to compute differences in various units of time, such as seconds, minutes, hours, days, etc., depending on the specified datepart. Key considerations for precision. Choose the right data type. Ensure you are using appropriate date and time data types. If you're dealing with only time values, consider using the time data type. For date and time, datetime2 can be a good choice due to its greater range and fractional seconds precision compared to datetime. Desirable datepart. Select an adequate datepart for the datediff function. While it's common to calculate time differences in seconds for precision, adapting to the context, you might prefer minutes, hours, etc. for readability. Handling null values and missing data. Ensure that your data doesn't contain null values or missing timestamps which could affect the difference calculation. Implement coalesce or isNull functions to handle unexpected null values gracefully. Time zone considerations. If your database contains time zones, convert all time components to a common time zone to ensure accurate comparisons. Performance optimization. Extensive use of date and time functions on large datasets can degrade performance. Consider indexing your date, time columns or running calculations in a scheduled batch process instead of real-time where timing isn't critical. Dealing with overlaps and complexity. For complex tasks that involve start-stop intervals or overlapping durations, you might need additional logic or CTEs to pre-process your data. Advanced techniques. For more specific scenarios, consider advanced functions and methods. Timestamp diff for even more precise interval calculations. Common table expressions, CTEs, can simplify complex queries that involve multiple temporal calculations. Use window functions like lead or lag to access a subsequent or previous row's timeline element, which could be beneficial for calculating periods between sequence data. In conclusion, calculating time differences in SQL Server requires careful selection of date and time data types, functions, and a strategic approach to ensure accuracy and efficiency. With these best practices in mind, you can enhance your SQL queries to deliver precise time analyses necessary for your applications. By fully understanding and utilizing SQL Server's capabilities, you can unlock new insights and enable more sophisticated task tracking and analysis in your databases.